Thank you so much, Takrim Foundation, Tech Minds. It's a topic that's like near and dear to my heart. I've been in technology for most of my career, and I love like the impact that it has. I wanted to give like a couple of examples. Like, in general, like when we think about like things that have changed humanity, we look at inventions and innovation, like the wheel back in like the old ages, the printing press, vaccines, things that like did not exist and at some point existed, and then they changed the course of humanity. When you look at like human achievement, it took 1 million years for the first person to run a 4-minute mile. 1 million years, like never in history had anybody run a 4-minute mile. And guess what? 46 days after this, somebody broke his record. This is the amazing thing that the human mind can do, moving things from impossible to possible. In more modern times, with technology, we've looked at like a few things that has been transformational. The invention of the personal computer, and like the use of the personal computer and bringing an interface that's a keyboard interface, and now you can like converse with a machine with a keyboard. The next innovation, the internet. All of a sudden, everybody's connected to with each other. The interface is the browser. The iPhone, it basically made everything ubiquitous, and the interface is now touch. You touch the phone, and then something happens. AI is like, and in its current status, like generative AI brings an interface that is amazing, that has not existed before, which is the natural language. And people think about AI, they're like, well, AI is going, it's like things like us. But like when you look at like how actually AI learns versus how humans learn, you have a toddler, they look at a car, and they look at like another car, they're like, it's probably a car. Whereas with AI, you give AI millions of pictures of cars, and now it knows what a car is. So AI and like computers and like how they build knowledge is actually quite different from how we build knowledge. Today, we brought all the knowledge of humans into an interface that we can converse with. When you're at the company, you're working on a new project, you think about like, hey, like somebody assigned me a new project, I actually do not know much about it. You go talk to experts. You talk to people that like have done this before, and you're like, well, how can I actually achieve this? How do I build domain knowledge? And what AI does is like it gives us access to all these experts within a few words. And now we can like learn about seeds or planting or the weather change or whatever very, very quickly, and we can start like becoming much more effective. So what AI is doing now is like helping us accelerate our ability to effect change. In the past few months, what we've seen is every technology company has a product, is like, oh, this product is great. Let me add a natural language interface to it. And so that's the first generation of AI that now we're interacting with. But like AI is not something that is completely new. Like, you've been using Google search for 20, 30 years now. It's AI that's like running that search. It's like giving you more accurate results. It's becoming better at like, getting you to the answer you're looking for. The next generation of AI is going to be not about like, hey, I have this product, I'm going to like make it easy for me to like actually interact with the product. The product is going to be an AI. And the first set of things that you've seen is ChatGPT, and everybody's been using, many of you have been using ChatGPT to get answers, but also to form ideas. And what is great about this is like you no longer have that white paper syndrome where you're like looking at the paper going like, what do I write next? How do I start my project? How do I think about this new thing? Now like there's somebody something that actually like helps you get started. And over the next few years, we're going to see AI and people get more in osmosis together. If you remember old movie Matrix, you had Neo that would like plug something in the back of their mind. You actually do not actually need to plug anything into the back of your head. We're interacting. We're actually in symbiosis with this AI that's coming around us. Generative AI, which is like what ChatGPT and like these models, what these models do, is the first instance of a computer learning to speak our language. Like we've been like for the past, 20, 30 years, like, and actually much more, we started with zeros and ones. And then we put like some assembly language, which was like, a little bit more developed. And at some point we wrote programming languages so that we can communicate with a machine. Today, we can communicate with the machine with a natural language. Like all of a sudden, that interface that was hard, that people had to learn, is no longer necessary. You used to tell your children you should like learn programming because it's going to be like how you're going to be interacting with machines, and like that's the jobs of the future. Today, it's probably not the case anymore. Like they do not need to like learn how to like communicate with the machine because now they can communicate with the machine with natural language. Technology companies used to hire developers, data scientists, people that like knew how to like collaborate with the machine. Now, as you think about like how you're hiring, you're actually like hiring linguists, people with like history majors. Like they know how to communicate with natural language much better than a developer would do. And those are the people that are actually creating the new set of innovations now by communicating with the machine in ways and like, like looking at subtleties of that language that machines are like uniquely capable of catching and actually like reacting to. There are multiple revolutions happening now. Like there's a couple that are actually quite interesting. One is when it comes to like all the data that we've been collecting, like from everything from like, when you buy on Amazon, like there's data when you walk around, like your GPS, like, sends data back to Google Maps and all this stuff. And it used to be that you had like to have like a bunch of data scientists that are actually collecting data and like analyzing the data. You actually do not need to like have these very, very smart mathematicians to talk to the data and get some results. Now at this point, you can actually like ask the data questions and it will reply back to you. And there are new jobs, like for like lots of people that are concerned about like job losses. There's actually like new jobs, and I'll give you like a couple of examples that are like actually quite like technology heavy. But like one is AI ethicists. Like at this point, like you have to like basically decide with a machine like what is right, what is wrong, and you have to help that machine understand this. And you have to like figure out like what of the interface of my machine, of my AI, am I going to like put out there so that like the AI is not helping you like create a nuclear bomb, but like improving the like water desalination projects. And the other thing that like did not exist 2 years ago is like it's something called prompt engineering, where you basically like constantly like asking. You do it like all the time when you talk to ChatGPT. Now you ask a question, you're like, well, I didn't really get the right answer. Let me change the words and like see how I can get a better answer. It's actually a field that's growing heavily now because like there's a need for us to actually interact better and like actually get the results that we're looking for. The topic was about innovation, and like what is actually really interesting is we have not seen a rate of increase of innovation like we have seen the past 2 years. These models that we're using, ChatGPT and others, like within 2-3 months, they're old, they're no longer relevant, and we're going to the next version and the next version. And this is something that has not happened in the past ever. And what we see is like with that acceleration, I think it's going to like generate much more opportunity to innovate better and like in areas that we have not thought of before. So in many cases, we've had problems we couldn't solve, and now with AI, we have problems that potentially we can solve. And you have to think about what are these problems that you're going to solve that could not be solved before. And at the core, there's going to be data, and the interface is going to be a language interface, and those are the key points. And what more critical space to actually innovate on and improve on than healthcare? And that's why the next topic is going to be about AI in healthcare. So have fun, build great products, be humble, and always be learning. Thank you.